Hello and welcome to the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony Nash and we are coming to you as always from the Armory in beautiful downtown Owasso, Michigan, home to my company AZ Business Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. Now I'm joined today by a friend and I guess kind of a competitor of someone who does some of the same things that we do, but we've worked with for a long time and we just absolutely love her. If you've been to our office, you've seen our really cool etched glass, which everybody comments about, and our cool Michael Scott quote on the wall that says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, and then of course Michael Scott. And she did our really cool Yeti etched AZ mugs, which everybody loves, my favorite thing. So she's very talented, gifted. We love working with her, and that is Heather Brooks from Brooks Innovative Graphics. Heather, welcome to the show.
Hi, Tony. Good to be here.
Thank you for being here. I know you've been battling a little bit of a sickness lately, but we appreciate you being on the show. And looking forward to talking about what you do and talk about your journey. I think it's going to be awesome to hear. I know you have a really great story. So as I mentioned, Heather does graphic design and she does a couple other things, and I'll let her talk about everything that she does. You see some of the stuff that she's done sitting on the table. Again, some of the stuff she's done for us. But Heather, what is Brooks Innovative Graphics up to today?
Well, Tony, in May we invested in a CO2 laser system, so we can add that to our services of basically custom decals, small signs, graphic design, logo work.
Yeah.
But the laser engraving has really added additional services that we can provide to our customers.
For sure. Like we said, the cool insulated mugs. Of course, we use Yeti because they're cool. But you do all kinds of those. I know Brenda, who works in our office, has a bunch of cool stickers you've done for her and her husband for their laptops. And I've seen a lot of the work that you've done, and it's just awesome. It's really taken some of the stuff that you've offered and really taken it up another notch. Why don't you show our audience a little bit? What are some of those things you brought with you there?
I brought a thermal insulated tumbler here that has a Owasso, Michigan logo on it. And we're also working on some decals that are Michigan themed, and those are available at the Steamray Roading Institute and also at the Michigan shop in Birch Run.
Yeah. And
I've just started doing some shows, farmers markets, different art shows selling these wares as well. So.
Yeah, and those are really cool. If you've been to the farmers market, you've probably seen those, but also, as she mentioned, down at our Steam Railroading Institute, and then even at the Made in Michigan store in Birch Run, and I know she's going to be finding other places. So if you're, a homebody Michigan person and you want some really cool personalized graphics, Heather's the one you need to see. So let's talk about BIG, B-I-G, Brooks Innovative Graphics. Tell our audience a little bit. I know we talked about the stuff you're doing with the etching, but let's talk about your business as a whole and what are some of the things that you offer and how did you come up with the name?
Brooks Innovative Graphics, I don't know, it kind of evolved from an idea that I had from a sketch that I drew of a light bulb. And I was trying to come up with just a 3-letter logo, if you will, that represented my business or creativity ideas, if you will. And it just kind of evolved from there. I had a few different versions, a few different ideas, and BIG seemed to work well.
The big idea.
Yeah, the big idea. And a lot of people do, they do say that, because they see that, and it does kind of represent the idea process. So.
It's such a cool name because when I know as a designer, when somebody comes to you to design something, sometimes they have no idea, so you have to kind of come up with a big idea for them. But I always tell them, like, your logo really is hopefully communicating the big idea of what you do, and I think your logo does that perfectly. I love it, so good job on that. So what are some of the other things that you offer? I know what they are, but tell our audience, what are some of the other things you offer at Brooks Innovative Graphics?
Sure. I do have a niche in what I call restoration graphics. I do a lot of restoration graphics for the Steamray Roading Institute for passenger cars, cabooses, the 1225 steam engine, as well as I've done some decals for the 75 as well. They have schematics of the original steam engines and the graphics that were originally hand painted on, and so they'll bring blueprints to me. A lot of times they'll have the dimensions, and then I will create the lettering from vinyl and then install it So there's
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and a large scale compared to a lot of the
Yeah.
other jobs that I do. So,
That's got to be a challenge.
but I've done restoration graphics for collectors of Alice Chalmer tractors, just Coca-Cola coolers. I've done a few different
Campers.
Yeah, RVs that
Yeah.
need new decals, things like that. So
Very good. So if you're out there and you have an old vehicle or something you're restoring, some old machine, and you need some graphics, highly recommend using Heather. And for reference, the 1225, if you've seen the Disney movie, The Polar Express, the train in that movie is actually modeled after, down to the whistle blow, from this train we have right here in our hometown called the 1225, which is, of course, the date of Christmas. And it is a up and running steam train that we run here all year round, but primarily during the Christmas season. We actually have the North Pole Express rides that we do. It's a big deal. And all the decals you see on the train and the passenger cars are done by Heather. But actually, Tom Hanks and his crew came to Owasso, Michigan and filmed the train, got all the CGI from it, got all the sounds, and even one of the engineers in the movie is based off of one of the people that worked there. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool museum, and so doing that work is really neat, and I'm sure that's a lot of fun. And as I mentioned, Heather does some of the same things that we do, but we collaborate on projects, and Heather's always been an absolute joy to work with. And again, I mean, if you were in my office right now, you'd be surrounded by Heather's work. She's very talented and does a good job, so we highly recommend utilizing her if you're in the area. So Heather, right now I want to give our audience a chance to get to know you a little bit better. We do this game on the show called This or That, so that everyone can get to know, kind of a little bit more about you. So I'm just going to give you like 10 choices, and you're going to tell me which one Heather Brooks subscribes to. Are you ready for this? You ready?
I think so.
Okay. Don't be nervous, all right? Apple or Android?
Both.
Both. Oh, wow. Mac or PC?
Both.
Both. Okay. That's good. Well-rounded.
I use both.
Yeah.
In my business, I do.
Do you have one that you prefer?
I do a lot of my graphic design work on the Apple.
Yeah.
But the laser side and my billing side, I use PC.
Yeah.
Just because there's no software available Apple-wise for the
Yeah.
laser.
Two working together in perfect harmony.
Yes.
Right? All right. Action movie or chick flick?
Both. I can't decide, but probably action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night owl or early bird?
I'd probably have to say early bird.
Yeah. Are you a morning person? Countryside or city slicker?
Countryside.
Countryside. Facebook or Instagram?
That's a hard decision, but probably Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah.
That's where all the kids are going these days, right? That's the cool place to be. Phone call or text?
I'm still a phone call.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
still a phone call
I
kind of
prefer
person.
Yep. Money or time?
Time,
Yeah.
for sure.
Night in or night out?
I spend a lot of nights in, but I do like a night out.
Yeah.
Everyone, we all do. We all need
For sure.
downtime.
Absolutely. All right, this is the tough one. This is the one where you get some people on your side and some people just stop listening right now. Wolverines or Spartans?
Oh, Spartans all the way, Tony.
Sparty.
Sorry.
All right,
Hey.
that's all right. That's all right. Hey, my team
know you're a
looked
Michigan
pretty
fan.
rough. They looked pretty rough on Saturday, so I can't even defend them right now. But I enjoy a good Sparty party. Whenever Michigan State's not playing Michigan, I always root for them. I'm not one of these that I hate Michigan State, but if they're playing each other, I prefer Michigan. So, all right. So now that we all got to know you a little bit better, and we know everything we need to know about Heather Brooks, the person, let's talk a little bit about your journey, okay? So you've been doing this for a long time. I'll let you tell our audience how long, but how did you get into this? What made you decide to start your own business and do graphic design and decals and all the things that you do?
Well, I've always been interested in art. Of course, I was a bookworm when I was a child, but always drawing, sketching, things that were related to art. Took art throughout high school. Had planned on becoming a medical illustrationist, but
wow.
it didn't end up happening that way because I ended up meeting my husband, got married, but I had quite a few travels because he was in the service, and so I worked for quite a few different places that were in the graphic design industry. I worked for a couple of different screen printers, I worked for a screen printer in Maine, in Portland, Maine, that we printed nothing but brewery and pub T-shirts for a lot of the New England pubs and Michael
kind of a big deal out there.
Yeah, like quite a few different places. It was really interesting too because we had 3 artists that were on staff, and they just hand drew everything. And I mean, computers were just starting about that time, but
don't date yourself, Heather.
I know, but that's why I went back to school too.
Yeah.
Because when I moved back here to Michigan, I didn't have any computer experience, and that's when graphic design and Illustrator and Photoshop were becoming pretty popular. So, so I went back to school, worked for a couple of different screen printers here, sign company in Owasso, and just really loved it. Really loved the fast pace, different work every day.
Every day, I love that too.
Just different job every day. And so ended up working a couple places where I was in marketing departments, doing artwork, things like that, but really just wanted to do something on my own. And so that's how it evolved. But
very cool.
Yeah,
now,
20 years now.
20
well,
years,
in June
almost.
next year, almost.
So you started in 1995?
June of 2000.
Oh, 2000. Wow,
Yeah.
that's my math is bad. Good job. That's awesome. I think that's so cool to see a small business that sticks around that long. I know the challenges of being a small business, and I remember when I first started my company, and I talked to a lot of people in Owasso who I thought would maybe be able to help me and kind of guide me through. And I told them what I was going to be doing with the web design and the social media, and all I heard from some of the people who I really had hoped to gain some encouragement from, I heard is, oh yeah, there's been 4 or 5 companies that tried to do that in Owasso and they all failed. It's not going to work. And but that, could have made me discouraged. It actually made me just want to do it even more. But I know now, having been in business almost 5 years, the challenges. It is tough sometimes, and you realize, I could probably just go get a job for someone else and make more money and still get to do what I do. But when you love what you do and you are able to push through, and I think it requires a passion and a love for what you do to push through the difficult times. And I definitely want to get into that. So we talk about love and passion. So what do you love most about what you do right now?
Design is definitely my therapy.
Yeah.
I enjoy being able to work on different jobs every day. And I think that's one nice thing about the graphic design business, because it's so vast. There's so many different projects that I might be working on a business card design one day, and the next day doing 50 mugs for a contractor.
Right.
It's very vast and not boring at all.
No, it's never
really
boring.
enjoying it.
It's never boring. Yeah, I agree with you there. I love sometimes just sitting down to a blank canvas with an idea. It's tough sitting down to a blank canvas without an idea. Then it's like, okay, what am I supposed to do? But when you have a really good idea, or a client really articulates something that they want, and immediately your mind triggers like, oh, I know what I can do there. And to start with a piece of paper and sketch it, or to get on a computer screen and start to draw it up and see it come to life. And of course, if you're like me and you nitpick every little detail, but it's fun. It is therapeutic. And I can spend 5-6 hours on a design sometimes and not even realize I did it because I enjoy it. And then you get to do something that I don't ever get to do, is you get to print it and then install it and see it come to life. Like, that's something I think I would really enjoy. And, when I design something, I have to wait till somebody else prints it and see it, unless it's something that I can print on a printer here at the office.
Right.
But I think that's got to be cool, seeing something go from an idea to the screen to printed and installed. And I think that's awesome. So 20 years in business. I'm sure you have some great secrets that have allowed you to stay in business for that long. And I think you've been a success. I know you work with a lot of companies in our area, and I've never in my entire time being here heard a negative thing about you or what you do or your services. Everybody always speaks very highly of you. You have a lot of loyal customers, which I think is awesome. So what are some of the secrets you could share with our audience that, is primarily small business owners, entrepreneurs, managers? What are some secrets you've learned over time that have really helped you stay for 20 years?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is just really personalized customer service. I don't have a cookie cutter customer service orientation for every client.
Right.
I usually will work with each client, find out what their needs are, and almost just, I can't find the word.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry.
Customize.
Customize it for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of times too, I might have an idea, let's say it's logo design, I might have an idea for a client, but I listen.
Right.
And you
That's
have
the
to
key.
sit back and I listen to what they're telling me, especially if they have this vision of what they want the logo to look like.
Right.
Maybe I'll do one logo that has their vision encompassed in it, and then I'll do a second version that would be maybe an idea that I came up with, just to see where it goes.
See if they like it, yeah.
Right. But sometimes I find that listening to the customer, that 9 out of 10 times I might be able to create their vision.
Extract an idea, yeah, absolutely.
And make that logo that is just the perfect representation of their brand for their business.
Yeah. So key number 1 is listen to your customers' needs. I do agree with that you do offer a personalized service. I just think about our glass here. When I kind of started to describe to you what I wanted, and we hadn't had a design yet, but you just listened to what we were asking, and then when we sent it, you kind of had some ideas and suggestions that we implemented, and I think it was great. And I know for me as a designer, the challenge is sometimes a client will want something that you think, I don't know if I like that idea. But you still have to try to make it come alive in a creative way for them. But I think giving them another option to look at, say, hey, what do you think about this? And then sometimes they still choose the one that, it's funny, I try to, when it comes to logo design, I always try to offer at least 2 choices, but most of the time 3.
Right.
And so often the customer picks like the one that I like the least. But
Same.
Either I don't have good taste or I just didn't quite hear what they were saying. But you really want to give the customer what they want and try to encapsulate their vision into a logo that speaks, to itself. And some logos are really easy. You can just think of, oh, that's a great image for that, and that's going to work. And some are more of a challenge, but always a good time. So I think one of the things I've noticed in working with you for the last several years, and I know that even before I started my business, I had worked with you. And I don't know if you remember, but I was on staff at our church, Emmanuel Baptist Church in Corona, and there were times where we needed some different decals, and I had contacted you about that. But one of the things I've always noticed, and this is true even as of within the last week, is you always just go the extra mile for us, and I'm sure you do it for other customers as well. But just recently, we had the Shiawassee Chamber Regional Golf Outing, and we had a little giveaway basket, and we bought a cool Yeti mug. This was without a handle, and we needed our logo etched in it, and you were really sick at the time, and you were busy with work, and just even said, I'm not sure if I can get it done, but I'll try. But you pulled it off. You got it done actually early, and the guy that won it just thought it was the coolest thing and loved it. But, we would have totally understood had you said, I'm just not feeling well and I can't do it. I already have, but you just made it happen. And in every example of working with you, because, the other thing I've learned as a designer is everybody that wants something needs it tomorrow.
Or yesterday.
Or yesterday. Very few people say, hey, I don't need this till like 2020. Most people think of it and like, I got to find, and of course, when you become known as the person that can pull off something at the last minute, that can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, because like, I can just wait and Heather will pull it off for me. But you've always gone the extra mile. Is that something that you purpose to do, or is it just something that comes natural to you? And if so, just let's talk about why you think that's such an important part of being successful.
It all depends, too, whether I feel, I guess, in my heart that I have the time to do it, and reasonably, Brenda came to me 3-4 days prior to you needing that
which really
mug.
Isn't a lot of time.
I
though.
know it's not a lot of time, but I didn't have a lot, going on. I wasn't feeling well, but I tend to do that for my customers because I'm that kind of person.
Yeah.
I tend to help and want to do things for people. And that just is part of my personality.
Part of who you are.
And I guess that conveys across to my business, my personal side as well as my business. So just a very giving person.
Yeah, well, and I think it's important as an entrepreneur that you let your personality shine through. If you have a good one, if you have a bad personality, maybe it's not the best to let it shine through. But when it's in your nature to be giving or want to make people happy, and then that translates to a brand. Like, I want to see you succeed. Like, I want to see your brand do well, and if I can have a little part in that, that's fulfilling. I know to us, we work with a lot of different brands just like you do, and when you see one of your brands thriving and succeeding, you feel a little piece of that, and it's awesome. And then when you see your brand struggling, one that you helped, and you see them or go out of business, you feel a little bit like, I wish I could have done more for them, and I think that's all part of it. But I think that it's so important, especially in the world we live in today, that business owners, especially small business owners and entrepreneurs, just go the extra mile. I was just talking to a potential client today who's been in business in Owasso for a long time, and she's had some ups and downs and struggles, and they're getting ready to move their business again. But through it all, she stayed in business. But we were just talking about the challenges of Amazon, where the services she offers, people can go online now and buy it, or buy the product she offers, I should say. And so trying to compete with that and stay in a local town and stay committed to being meeting the needs of people when they have all these other options, it's really a challenge. So I think one thing that can make you stand out is not just offering a superior product, but offering that personalized customer service and going the extra mile to say, maybe you can get that from Amazon, but Amazon's not going to redo it for you tomorrow if I did it wrong. Or, there's certain things that Amazon can't do. And, we're all in that world. We do web design, and now a lot of people have figured out a way to go online and find a free template-based website, and it costs maybe a lot less than what I could offer them. And 99% of the time they come back and say, all right, that's not working for us. But it is an affordable option that I have to compete with. And so I think that one of the things that will make you, if you're a small business owner or you're an entrepreneur having to compete with all these new options that people have, taking the time and making it a priority to go the extra mile. I think it's so important. I mean, would you agree with that?
I agree.
Yeah, I think that so many people struggle with that for some reason, and I've tried to figure out why more people don't just understand that or get that, or maybe they don't realize it. I know for me, I worked in the hotel business for 10 years, and I don't think that I was like a master hotelier. I met a lot of people who knew more about the hotel business than me, knew more about how to clean a room and where to order products and all the different things. There were people that knew more than me, but I think what made us stand out, my hotel in New York went platinum. We won a platinum award. That means top 3% in the brand of 5,000 hotels. My hotel here in Owasso had just a fantastic reputation by the time they sold it. And I think, to me, the key was we just offered superior service. Like, we are going to meet the needs of each person like they're a red carpet guest every single time. And I just think so many businesses miss that. Local businesses, big businesses. And I think when you're trying to compete against the big boys or the big gals, you really have to stand out with service. I think that can make you stand out all by itself.
You have to have a niche, and you also have to have, like you say, additional service qualities that are over and above other people in your field of service.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can't just be, two guys selling a cup. Well, why would I buy from you? Well, maybe I, can get you the cup faster, or maybe I can get you the cup at the last minute, or maybe I can, do a little extra to make that cup neat, whatever. They're just finding a way to be creative and take your service up. And then, you're not Amazon. I'm not Amazon. We don't have billions of customers just going to our website every day, just hoping to, people go to Amazon just to see if there's something to buy. Like, they don't even,
Right.
They might not even be looking for anything. Like, what's the deal of the day? And nobody goes to my website just hoping to find something. Like, if someone goes to my website, they're looking for something specific. So when you don't have that big line of customers out the door, I think that every single customer needs to be treated like a VIP. I really believe that. And I think you've exemplified that very well in our community, at least in your experience with me. Like, we always feel like we're the most we feel like we're the most important customer at that time. And so we really, really appreciate that. So I guess in that vein, why do you think so many businesses just offer the bare minimum customer service? I'm sure you've had experiences with businesses that just give you the bare minimum. Why do you think so many businesses do that? It seems like the obvious thing to provide good service, but why do so many people not?
Maybe less time involved and less time involved to do the bare minimum.
Maybe they're over committing themselves, or maybe the owner is just not involved with the company and they don't realize their employees. There's so many times where I go to I just recently went to, it wasn't that recently, within the last year, went to a gas station in our hometown here, and literally the entire time I was trying to purchase something at the counter. The entire time that I was at the counter, the girl at the register never looked up at me, and she was texting with her left hand and running the register with her right hand and then scrolling through Facebook, and never made eye contact but did the complete entire transaction. And my thought was, I wonder if the owner of the company knows this is happening. Now, if the owner knew about it, that's shame on them.
Right.
But I think, like what you said, maybe they're just owners not involved, or they're too busy and they're not seeing those things. But I think companies today can stand out just by having that great customer service. You look at the example of Chick-fil-A. I mean, I've been to Chick-fil-A. They have a good chicken sandwich, but it's not like earth-shattering, delicious food that like I got to drive miles for. But people drive miles to go to Chick-fil-A, and I think what makes the food taste better is their service is second to none. Their service is second to none. So if you're listening, I think if you're a small business owner, or a large business owner, or an entrepreneur, I think if you want to stand out from the crowd, especially today, just provide great service. Customized service, individual service, and go the extra mile. I don't think you can go wrong there with that ever. So, all right, well, like if someone's out there listening today, and they're thinking, okay, I hear what they're saying. I see an example of a lady who's been in business for 20 years, is doing it. Maybe people listening know who you are and have heard of you and would look at you as someone that they would want to pattern their business after. But they're saying, I don't really know where to begin as far as this idea of personalized service, this idea of going the extra mile. I don't know where to begin. What would be a good first step that you would encourage someone to take if that's what they're looking to take their business?
Just to find value in that customer and to be there with whether it be customer service or providing additional things that would help to bring that customer back.
Yeah.
You want a return customer for sure, especially in a small business.
Absolutely. I used to tell my customers or my employees in my hotel is, you have to realize is if the customers stop coming, you don't have a job. And when you are a single person entrepreneur, that is really true, that if the customers stop coming, I can't do this as a career. And we have a couple of employees here, but I mean, all of us have to realize that if I don't make this Instagram work for this customer and they stop using us, I'm out of hours. If we don't make this design crisp and sharp and make it something that they would not only use but show other people, and we get some word of mouth, then I'm not going to be in business. And so that's got to keep you fueled. And so when you look at what that customer is worth, they're the person that's putting food on your table and allowing you to do what you love and be passionate about, then it starts with the perspective of, I have a value of this customer. So even if they're difficult, and listen, we deal with difficult customers. You deal with those people that are high maintenance. I don't know if you've ever done this, but there's been times where I've given a proposal for a design without the disclaimer, this is for up to 3 revisions or up to 2 revisions. So you get that customer that wants like 47 revisions, and by the time you've done it, you're like, I did not make any money on this project. We get those customers, but even that customer has to have an extremely high value, because without them, you're not in business. And so great advice, put some value on those customers. You need them. Each and every single one of them will help you. So Heather, at the end of it all, what does success look like to you?
I guess success would be measured in that I love what I do, and that to me is most important, just because work shouldn't be work.
Yeah, that's true. That might sound so crazy to some people, but that's true.
It doesn't seem like I'm working because I'm having so much fun.
Yeah,
so.
And that's possible. You can have fun at work if you enjoy what you're doing. And so I think that, I've said this a million times on the show, but success is defined by the individual. And doing something that you love, doesn't matter the money. I mean, obviously money has to come and has to pay the bills, but it's a byproduct when you're doing something that you love. So this is a question that I always ask every single guest, and that is, what is your best piece of advice?
I guess in this day and age, especially owning a small business and knowing that customer service is key, I would just have to say there's so many places I go to, and a lot of them happen to be big box stores. If you're not a people person, please don't work in retail. Or at least like people while you're at work. Don't hate people. There's so many places that you go these days and you want to spend your money, but the minute that you walk out the door after getting a response from, I know that people have bad days, but just, we need to be nicer to each other.
Yeah.
We really
nicer.
do.
Be nicer to each other. That's great advice. Absolutely. That applies to anybody, anywhere. And yeah, if I'm inconveniencing you as your customer, I apologize, but just let me know and I can go somewhere else, right? I mean, that's how you feel sometimes. That's what you want to say, but because I'm a nice person, I don't usually say it. So, all right. Well, Heather, thank you so much for being with us today. If someone's listening and they want to maybe order an etched mug, or they want to get some decals, or they need some graphic design work, why don't you tell our audience how they can find you and Brooks Innovative Graphics?
You can find out more about Brooks Innovative Graphics on bigsigns.org, Brooks Innovative Graphics on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you for being us. We here at AZ highly, highly recommend Heather and her services. She does great work. She's affordable. She's creative and talented, and just always a pleasure to work with. And so thank you, Heather, for always going the extra mile with us and for taking care of us and making our glass look so cool. We do get a lot of compliments on it, so we appreciate that. And thank you for joining us today. I hope that you've learned and gleaned that if you are a business owner, if you are a manager, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are somehow providing a service or a product to people, go the extra mile. Treat that customer as if it's your only customer, because there might come a day when they are. And so stand out in today's business world by just providing great customer service and personalized customer service. As Heather said, listen to your customer. I mean, that's so valuable, to listen to what they're telling you. And then the advice, be nice to people. I mean, that's a great one. And so just be nice. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends, and don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.